All right, so bottom line is this: Fednow and Hedera. Now, for some of you guys, you already know about some of this, and maybe it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna give you my own little 2 cents on some of it. Later on, we'll go back to what Bob was talking about in regards to quant and so on. Right. So, I want to share this with you guys, and it's an interview with Sushil Prabhu, who is the CEO of Drop. Okay, and you got to keep in mind, Drop was featured on the Fednow showcase right on the website, especially for Hedera. So Drop CC. All right, I'm going to share this with you guys. Here's the screen, and I think some of you guys are familiar with this gentleman on the right. He has great content, but Hedera did repost this. He goes into detail about this whole thing in regards to micropayments and it being a solution. And I think when we talk about the whole key concept of, like especially earlier, talking about Ripple's XRP, well, that in itself is its own, thing with payments in itself. But when it comes to Hedera, it's like, well, this whole thing with Fednow, so I'm like, how do they separate themselves? I honestly think that the key thing here is micropayments, not just payments, but micropayments. Okay, so Drop CC, the micropayment solution showcased by Fednow. Now I'm going to show you that just in case you didn't follow some of the other content creators that provide this. But showcased by Fednow and built on Hedera is at the forefront of this vision. Now, there's, of course, a full podcast and so on. I mean, it gets really deep. But it states that you can learn more about this Web3 solution, of course, on this weekly podcast. But you want to know something? This is a chopped up version that highlights some key things. So we're going to play this. Typically speaking, I like to stick to like 5 or 6 minutes and then give you my own 2 cents. But on this one, I didn't want to like skip over anything. I mean, this is a good highlight. So it's 9 minutes. I want you to hear this out or hear it out, right? And then after that, we'll jump into another interview that was also from the same guy from Drop. And this is where you had this interview from August 21st, where he was a guest on CoinDesk. And I want you to also hear that. That one's only about less than 3 minutes. So let's pay attention to this. Please smash that like if you haven't done so already. And once again, thank you for being here, especially on a Friday night. Here we go.
Sushil, I think it's fair to say that the Hedera community was blindsided by the inclusion of Drop on the Fednow website, and there's a fair amount of confusion. Can you explain to us what it means for Fednow to showcase Drop?
Absolutely, and I can understand if they were blindsided. So as you understand, Brandon, Drop is a micropayment platform, an extremely cost-effective platform that was built on Hedera Hashgraph distributed ledger. But we also use regulated banking technology to make this payment platform happen, right? So that you can make payments in Web3 digital currencies, and you can also make payments in fiat, specifically currently US dollar, USD, right? So what's happening in the world in general, and some part of our vision is driven by the global emergence of real-time payments by the banking industry. In Brazil, you have PIX. In India, they have UPI, which has become very, very popular and become de facto standard there. And in the United States, we have 2 instant payment rails. One is called RTP by the clearinghouse. And the second one we just got introduced is a Fednow, and everyone is excited about it. And I can see why the community is excited about it. So we Drop as a payment platform, we offer instant payments. So, and I've mentioned this several times on your show that we've been working with the financial institutions, specifically banks, to enable RTP. We have shared our product with the clearinghouse, which has had real-time payments since 2017. And then we also shared our platform with the Fed, specifically the Fednow team in March. And it's a slow process, it's a long process, and they were excited about it. The product looks really good. So let me just tell you what the issue is with all these real-time payment infrastructure all over the world. They're incredibly fast. They do real-time settlement of fiat currencies, but they're just rails. You need all the payment capability. You need the user experience. You need all of that stuff to make payments happen. So when you do digital shopping or you do any shopping, all of that experience that you have and all of the experience that the merchant has, That has to be all built. So we built all of that so that you could have real-time payments. So we've been in conversation with banks to enable RTP and then now to enable Fednow. And we were fortunate enough in March, in the month of March, when we showed the product, the Fednow team liked it and they said, we would like to showcase your product, which happened, I think, last week. We wanted to make an announcement once we are live with that product, as opposed to just being showcased in it. And I think one of the Hedera community members saw it and it got wildly excited. We are very excited. I think this is the future. The future is instant payments, and you should be able to make the payments, whether it is digital currency or you want to make it using US dollar or any currency, you should be able to do that. We are at the forefront of that. So using Hedera's extremely cost-effective distributed ledger technology, and now with the Fednow and the clearinghouse RTP protocol, very soon you'll be able to make payments using Drop instantaneously. Right now in Drop, you use ACH. Like when you fund your account, you use ACH. So it takes a day or two. And that's fine for now, but the entire world is moving in this direction of instant payments. And we want to have Drop bring that to everyone so that you can make simple everyday purchases using Drop. That's the idea.
So a quick question. You knew that you were going to be showcased. You're in works with Fednow to actually be integrated and allow the users of Fednow to use Drop. Yeah. But did you know it was going to be announced or showcased so early?
No, we didn't. I mean, so let me also explain the showcasing part. The showcasing is the Fednow team is also interested in showcasing products like Drop, because you're really enabling. You're really not just building the rails again. You're giving them, the consumers and the merchants, tools by which they can actually use Fednow. So they are also excited, and they showcase. We didn't know the timing of it, so they showcase it. Now, what we're working on, which is a really important aspect of it, and is the financial institutions with whom we are working. They have to enable it so that we can enable it. So it's going to take a while. People need to be a little bit patient. As you understand, Fednow also just came out a couple of months back. It's still young, and there's a lot of testing. There's a lot that needs to happen. Forget testing is beyond. There's a lot that needs to happen before you go out. So it could be end of the year. It could be next quarter, next year, first quarter next year. We'll be launching. We might first launch simple use cases. So when you download Drop, maybe it will only be for merchants so that they can get their payments instantly. And then we might go take the next step where you as a consumer, you walk into a restaurant and you're going to make $100 payment right through your bank account through Drop. You could do that. You will be able to do that. So it's step 3 and step 2, but this is a good start. We're very excited. And we also, I'm really happy about the reception we got in the last 24 hours. It's good to see that people are looking forward to this, because there's always a question mark. Do people really want instant payments? Looks like they do. So I think it's been good 24 hours for us.
Well, it's been well deserved. So can you tell us what we can expect from Drop and the impact on Hedera moving forward from this and other integrations?
So there are two very direct impact, right? So the part of the product that people like in the financial industry, not the non-crypto industry, what they like about the Drop product is we use digital signatures. For every payment is made by, even when you read your transaction, we use digital signatures. So what we do is when you open an account, you're really opening an account in the Hedera distributed ledger, right? So what you should see once we roll out these products to the banks is you'll see lots of accounts being opened. So the number of account opening will go up exponentially. And then every transaction is going to be a Hedera transaction. And now we use both. We use HTS and we use HCS, which is the consensus. So you should see an uptick in all of those transactions. And then we use all sorts of other services in Hedera. But I would say typically you should see a large amount of account opening, like very large account openings. And then you will see millions of transactions happening per day, because that's what it is. Micropayments are all about small transactions, but a lot of them, right? And that's why platforms like Hedera are like absolutely perfect for payments, because it's low maintenance. The cost of the transaction is very low. It just helps us a lot. This would not have been possible if we had used any other distributed ledger. So we are excited about that. You should see a large amount of traffic happening. One of the things that we are doing, Brandon, and which I missed out in my previous statement is, so we are working with financial institutions to enable, we call it instant payments, where whether we use Fednow or RTP will be decided by the platform itself, whatever is the most cost effective at that point. But we are also really enabling drop as a payment service in these banks. So then the banks can itself offer it to their merchants and their consumer as a payment method, right? So we should see a lot happening in the next 6 months as we get more and more traction with these institutions.
Well, this is absolutely music to our ears. Sushil, again, thank you so much for swinging by today. But is there anything else you'd like to pass on before we let you go?
Well, we want to thank the community for the support. It's been really good. It's been overwhelming, actually. And I want people to just understand that we're not live yet. When we are live, we won't blindside. We'll let people know as we go live. But it's going to be a while. It takes a long time. It has taken us 2 years to get here. Okay, it takes a long time. It's different. So that's what it is. We've been showcased on the Fednow because they would like to market us as a platform to be used for Fednow. We have to work with financial institutions to make it happen. So all of that thing, slowly it's getting there. Okay.
Well, Sushil, thank you again for stopping by and explaining it, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Man, I mean, bullish is all hell, right? Like, I mean, he literally, like I, shared in the comments. I don't know if you guys saw the comment I just put in for you guys. I had to put that in because I was like, I might, forget, drift off, focus on other things because there's so many things happening on my screen. But yeah, do a lot of transactions. Again, how many times have we mentioned all the time? Utility in motion is what really gets things going, not necessarily news of partnerships. I mean, those things complement things, but at the end of the day, when it's real true utility in motion, this is where people put the focus on, like, hey, does your cryptocurrency have utility? And when you get examples or when you see that utility in motion, that's big. I mean, here's another great example, guys. Not a fan of Ethereum, right? But like what Mark Cuban pointed out, right? Was it 2021 with Ethereum? Not a fan of the gas fees, but that was utility in motion. Mint an NFT, Ethereum gas fees, a new meme token, ERC20, Ethereum gas fees, on and on, over and over and over. Okay, forget meme tokens, forget NFTs, Fednow, Hedera, Hbar. Oh my goodness. Lots of transactions happening. Oh my goodness. Utility in motion, but on real utility with not much cost for the transactions. But if anything, fast transactions, secure, and a lot of them. Are we not bullish on Hbar? Like, maybe we don't talk about it enough. Maybe I need to talk more about Hbar, but it is consistently in my top 5, right? Top 5, 6 roughly. Anyway, we're going to get more into what we have about this. So that was a really cool interview. And I want to jump into this next particular one. This one is not as long. This is like 2.5 minutes. So again, this CEO, right? Hopefully you're familiar with him now, because we are talking about this whole thing in regards to Hedera and Fednow, basically. So you have this, and they did share this a while back, obviously August 21st. So again, that was the most recent interview you saw, but this is the other one, right? From a mainstream perspective. So Drop CEO, right? The guy you just saw interviewed. He says it was a wonderful opportunity to join CoinDesk back then to delve into Drop's vision. Just gonna reiterate some things, but a little bit different questions. So they had this chance to provide a better understanding of what it truly means to be listed, of course, on the Fednow showcase. After this interview, I'm going to show you what that showcase looks like. Some of you guys know, right? But yeah, thanks to Jennifer Sanase from CoinDesk. I mean, she always does a bunch of work, and we share some of her content before as well. So anyway, I'm going to play this as well. I think it's going to pound it home even that much more about this whole thing of Drop, Hedera, and of course, Fednow, right? You got to keep in mind, Drop still is on that showcase. Let's go ahead and play this. Please smash that like. Here we go.
Bitcoin's recent bloodbath, Hedera's Hbar token has risen nearly 16% in the last 2 weeks as the Federal Reserve's instant payments platform Fednow listed Drop as a Hedera-based micropayments platform as a service provider. Joining us now to discuss is Drop CEO Sushil Prabhu. Welcome to the show, Sushil.
Hi, good morning. Yes, thanks. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. Thanks for being here. Now, Drop allows micropayments in Hedera's Hbar, the US dollar, and Circle's USDC. Just briefly give us an overview of Drop and how it works.
Sure, absolutely. So Drop is a micropayment platform. It's an extremely cost-effective platform built to support both fiat, which is US dollar in our case, and digital currencies like USDC stablecoins, right? It is, consumers are looking for more choices in terms of payments, and merchants are looking for a very extremely cost-effective platform. So we built Drop based on 3 key drivers that we see in the market. One of them is 50% of the consumer reported payments are under $25, and there is no cost-effective payment platform out there to enable payments, small payments. The second big trend that we see in the market is a global emergence on instant payment rails, which is where the Fednow comes in. So there is a global emergence of instant payment rails, both in terms of the banking rails and in terms of the digital currencies, right? But these are just rails. There is no payment capability on top of those rails, right? And that's what Drop provides. And the third key aspect, which is again why Fednow is quite relevant to us, is there's been lots of studies out there that for mass adoption, consumers prefer digital wallets provided by their bank, as long as it has all the other features that they're looking for, is rewards and buy now, pay later, all of those services. So we built Drop specifically for this market, which is small value transactions, instant payments, and then you can pay via bank. So that's what Drop in a nutshell is. It's built on Hedera Hashgraph. That's why Hedera is very relevant to us. We use Hedera Hashgraph's ledger for managing the ledger itself.
I think that's pretty clear, right? Hedera all the way, right? Fednow, Drop. So let me share this with you. And this is straight from the Fednow. It's a showcase. A lot of you guys already seen it, right? Like, let's face it. I mean, you guys watch other programs, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But just in case you never took the time to look more into it, boom, plain as day, straight from the Fednow service provider showcase. And it does reference Drop. And, they talk about their services, their products to support Fednow. We already know most of this, right? But look at this. Drop is a pay by bank alternative to what? Credit. Actually, let me come back in a second. I gotta double check something. Excuse me. Available to credit card payments, allowing merchants to do what? Accept small value purchases digitally without paying large transaction fees. Again, hence why he said Hedera was like the best one for that, right? Transactions per second is significantly faster than anything else out there. Not everything out there, but compared to the normal ones that we talk about, Ripple, Stellar, and so on. Those are of course great opportunities as well. But I mean, we're talking about obviously Fednow. So I don't know if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I think it was like Hedera was what guys, 30,000 TPS, 28,000 TPS. So again, that blows away Stellar and Ripple's XRP. Of course, I still love those, and I'm not bashing that. But the point is, we covered those other two in regards to, back in July, I think it was. Again, enter in Hedera. So I love this comment right here. Drop opens up a digital economy of micro purchases. He talks about micro purchases and just little payments. Here's where I feel as though, even back to Dr. Lehman Baird real quick, you could tell that Lehman Baird apparently is a fan of video games. And how many content creators have you seen? Like, they'll produce content, Gala, and they also include like Hedera, right? I am more bullish on Hedera. No offense to Gala, I think they got some good projects and so on. I just don't like what happened in regards to, how that went. But my key thing is, I understand that when it comes to free to play games, just hear me out for a second, even if you're not a gamer, that's a lot of micropayments. You know what I mean? Like you have a situation where, you know, somebody, you know, plays a free to play game and they want a brand new hat for their, you know, whatever first person shooter game they're playing or so on, or they buy a little bundle pack of $5. Again, guys, micropayments. So if you have one that's super, super fast, secure, and if anything, doesn't burn a bunch of carbon, you know, you get where I'm coming from. It's just like you already have those type of connections, and not to mention all this other stuff. I mean, that industry in itself is big, don't get me wrong, but this I think is a really, really big deal. Earlier we were talking about clearinghouses. This point right here, Drop currently utilizes ACH to fund the consumer wallet and make end-to-end payments to merchants. Okay, I'm literally thinking, okay, wow, you know, that's game changer, because at the end of the day, you got to have end-to-end payments to merchants. How about daily end-to-end payments to merchants? How about, you know, instantaneous day-to-day end-to-end payments to merchants? Drop plans to partner with banks using Fednow service to provide merchants, an innovative option for year-round, end-of-day, real-time settlement and instant payment services. It's you know, it's straight to the point, right? All right, so there's this right from Drop on their website. Of course, listed on the Fednow showcase. They reference that about the vision, all that stuff, right? Always worth pointing out. Now, at the end of the day, here's what I want to point out to you. All right, let me come out of the frame. Here's from my own notes, okay? Biggie Smalls, relax and take notes, right? Well, the bottom line is this. When asking this question, I think you guys are asking this question, and this is a legitimate question. Why is Drop and Hedera significant to Fednow? I mean, it's one thing to be listed on the showcase, but it's another thing to say, well, you know, Max and Rue Black, you guys did a great job in your outline for XRP and Fednow and Stellar and Fednow. In reality, what is the nitty gritty that makes this significant, other than, I guess you could say, like, you know, micropayments and so on? And that's a great example. So for one, Drop and Hedera are significant to Fednow because, basically speaking, they offer a number of advantages over traditional payment methods such as credit cards and, of course, wire transfers. We talked about micropayments, so I'm not going to get into that. But what about instant payments? Okay, because at the end of the day, Fednow is supposed to be an instant payments provider, if you will. So drop payments are processed instantly. Of course, merchants and consumers basically are going to be able to receive funds immediately. Right. This can be especially beneficial for businesses that sell digital goods and services, as it allows them to deliver the products to customers as soon as payment is received. Think about how many times you use, for instance, eBay. You know, we talk about getting things to these merchants, right? So one of the problems I even experienced 20 years ago and so on is I sell something on eBay. I have to wait for payment from whoever it is that bought, you know, the product and service. Sometimes they win the auction. Remember back in those days, we have auctions. Auctions are still around. Not as popular as just, you know, the buy now button, right? I think that's why buy now really stands out compared to just auctions. But there's still auctions on eBay, right? Back in the day, there was also Yahoo auctions. I don't know if you guys remember that. But that was my consistent complaint was, man, I would just wish there was something in which I could run this auction and don't have to wait around for these guys and then just boom, get my payment, right? Say what you want. Drop, again, with Hedera meets that problem. You know, they create a solution because, again, to deliver products to customers as soon as payment is received, instantaneous. You want that. We got the thing with the low fees, like we talked about. Drop charges merchants a very low transaction fee. We already know that because we looked at some of the chart when it comes to Hedera. How much are their fees? The transact, it's like, you know, the price of a Luna Classic token, maybe even cheaper than that, right? But, you know, a payment solution, you know, it's a better cost-effective payment solution, compared to the traditional model. So this solution, you know, allows a lot for third-party payment processor, for instance, all right? Excuse me. All right, there's another part. Two more things I want to get to, maybe three. How, you know, Max, how do we tie in the whole thing in regards to Hedera Hashgraph, right? This is drop, but what about Hedera Hashgraph? Can you give me information in regards to that? Yes, that's a great question. So I'm gonna get into that. So with Hedera Hashgraph, we did have that speed and we have scalability. You know, again, shout out to Cool Cat Crypto. He's always talking about, can it scale? Like, he's so obsessed over scalability, and I understand that, right? We should obsess over that. But yes, Hedera provides through Hashgraph that speed and that sense of scalability. For one, Hedera Hashgraph is obviously a DLT, distributed ledger technology. You know, it's not blockchain, right? It's a DLT, the Gossip protocol, the you know, that unique consensus algorithm. It processes thousands of transactions per second, of course, with low latency. Makes it well suited for this particular platform for what? Micro payments and other high volume payment applications. So even for the micro side of things, or even for large volume micro transactions, because you think about it, what about you know, you have, like, for instance, a particular, you know, free-to-play type of video game, and then you have everybody getting addicted to this new game. I mean, let's just throw out an example. I mean, it doesn't exist, but like League of Legends, for instance. Let's say League of Legends decided to go with Hedera's Hashgraph, right? And you know, you have a game like that, for instance, and all these people, you know, it's a free-to-play game, and all these people are addicted to it. And then they get so addicted to it, and it's just like, you know, especially with Halloween coming up, right? Those kids are gonna love the idea of being able to have like a new Halloween outfit or something. So as a result, boom, you have a scalability issue, especially for some gamers. They're playing at like 2 o'clock in the morning and so on. You have to be able to scale. And basically speaking, you have to be able to handle high volume payment applications. You know, you got to keep in mind that particular game might have a contract with such and such merchant and so on. Well, if that merchant represents what Hedera has through Drop, for instance, and so on, you get how it all comes through. It has to scale, and it has to be able to do high volume payment output for those applications. And it has to be able to do even all at once. It has to prepare for the oh crap moments. Like, again, I have to have the same user experience as Tim Shea, and Tim Shea has to have the same user experience as Brian Dowie and everybody, right? Or a kid who lives in China or here or wherever the case be. So there's that. Last part. What about security? How does Hedera Hashgraph provide that sense of security? Like, a lot of people say, well, we should just go with Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum is slow, but Ethereum is proven in regards to security. You know how many times I've heard that? Listen to this. So security and compliance, Hedera Hashgraph is a highly secure and compliant, I want you to think about that, compliant platform that has been audited by top security firms. And you can look into this for yourself, right? This makes it a trusted choice for businesses that can handle sensitive financial data. Sensitive financial data. So again, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. All right, in conclusion, Drop and Hedera basically offer a number of advantages over traditional payment methods, which makes them a significant development for, of course, Fednow. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But providing fast, secure, and low-cost way to make micropayments, Drop and Hedera could help revolutionize the way that people pay for goods and services online. I don't think it's could. It's just a matter of it will be, right? Why else would Fednow also select them, especially being part of the showcase? It's one thing, and this is not a bash towards XRP and Stellar, right? You know, we were trying to tie in Stellar and XRP, but we had to tie it in from the perspective of the partners who could possibly utilize it. This is way different. Fednow selected, right, Drop, and Drop, of course, teamed up with Hedera. So Hedera is the chosen one when it comes to Fednow. It says, in addition, for example, in regards to my notes, the inclusion of Drop and Hedera in regards to Fednow is significant because it represents a growing acceptance of blockchain tech by the traditional financial system. Again, even at the very beginning of our outline, and we're talking about R3. So again, this is not R3 and Hedera, but you could technically recognize that this is a different form of still recognizing the current systems and the old traditional financial systems. This could lead to further innovation and adoption of blockchain-based payment solutions in the future. So here's my statement, all right, to wrap this up. This whole notion that Fednow Some people feel as though it's going to lead to a CBDC, and they're like, that's bad. But at the other hand, when we look more into the whole thing about Hedera, it's like, shouldn't we try to get to the point where we have mass adoption? So this statement, like I was saying in my notes, could lead to further innovation and adoption of the tech. Isn't that what we all want at the end of the day anyway? Draw your own conclusion. Let me know what you think in regards to the presented material. I'd like to honestly hear about your thoughts, whether you are on par with this, whether you're not, maybe you think it's good, maybe you think it's bad, but where the case be. There's a presented material, and glad to cover it, especially on this deep dive in regards to Hedera. It was an itch that needed to be scratched. I was like, I did that thing for Stellar and XRP, but didn't do it for Hedera. So hopefully you appreciated that. Wasn't able to do it with Rue Black, but if anything in the future, maybe we do a follow-up in that regard. Shout out to our brother Rue.